Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot and Astrology. This reading is for, it's Monday, May 25th, but it's probably for a few days in either direction. I'm trying to speak closer to the iPad because someone had trouble hearing me last time, and I totally spaced out that I was going to try to buy another microphone. The last one I bought didn't work, so I hope you can hear me. And I'm doing this it's funny, I sat down to do this. I've been thinking about it for a few days, and tonight the opportunity came up. And then I looked at the ephemeris and realized that tonight or tomorrow, the 25th, is the exact square between Mars in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius. So I'm going to talk about that for just a couple of minutes, and then I will timestamp when the card reading begins. Excuse me, I have allergies as always. So, Mars is at 5 degrees of Taurus. Mars rules Aries, which is a fire sign, and Taurus is fixed earth, which means it's very stubborn. And a square is an uncomfortable aspect that forces the two energies to work together, or not to work together, but well, yeah. I mean, they're like, it's like trying to do something with someone that has a totally different way of doing something, and you're set in your ways and they're set in their ways. And ultimately, if you can work together, you're going to achieve something and overcome something. So, Pluto, who rules Scorpio, is in Aquarius at 5 degrees, moves very slowly. And so this is about, Mars is our desires and our physical actions, sometimes our bodies, it's willpower. And Pluto, they both rule power in different ways. Pluto's the treasures of the subconscious, but Pluto has a kind of a power thing too. You know, he's the lord of the underworld. So we have Taurus energy versus Aquarius energy. They're both fixed. Taurus is earth, Aquarius is air. So Pluto is saying we need to embrace change, because Pluto's all about transformation, death and rebirth, death, transformation, and rebirth. And in Aquarius, it's about taking a whole new look, a different perspective, a very progressive one, even an eccentric one. And saying, look, we have to take into account not only tradition, because it's partially ruled by Saturn, but what's progressive, because it's also ruled by Uranus. So Pluto is digging in his heels in this sign and saying, you have to look at this from a new point of view. You can't stay stuck in the past. You just can't. And Mars in Taurus is saying, I want security. I want structure. I want things to be pleasant and comfortable, and I'm not moving out of my comfort zone. And Pluto's saying, well, you have to. So that's what's going on, basically. And that's about it. I'll talk about something else next time. I had a quote. I was going to read it, and then I guess I will. It's only 3 words long, but I don't like it because it's true, I think. And I don't know who said it, but it goes, did I have it on here? Maybe. I always like to give credit where credit is due, but let me see if no, I don't want my alarms. No, I don't know who said it. I just got it somewhere. But it says, forgotten is forgiven. And that kind of disturbed me, because I like to think that I'm a very forgiving person. But do I forget things? No, I don't. So anyway, let me write down the time here. It's really weird because I was going to, I need to look at the fairy book too. I was going to do all fairy cards, and they didn't feel right, and weird cards came out, and I said, no, that's gibberish. And then I pulled the other cards, and then I was going to pull a fairy card for each of the elements, earth, air, fire, and water, except I did them in a different order. Now I'm probably going to get mixed up, but anyway, card that was on the bottom of the fairy deck when I picked it up, after tons of shuffling, was there again. So I'm going to pull that one out because it's for us. Okay, so this is the Cross of Truth. I had to draw an overall clarifier because I just felt like it needed one. So I hope I can put these together. They weren't what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but not these, although they make sense. Okay, so this is us, the King of Swords. And this is about wanting to have, and having actually, mental authority. Now, he can be a little bit stubborn and a little bit, unwavering, maybe a little too intellectual, too much in his thoughts, but it's about being in control of your thoughts and not letting your mind run away with you, and not letting other people's opinions sway you. So it's a good card. It's about having control. And, as I was saying, this Mars square Pluto, it can manifest as a power struggle, and control issues can definitely come up when we have two fixed signs. So this is overall good. But it's also kind of a cautionary tale, too. I wouldn't get too stuck in your views. But again, it's the king, so he has some authority here. So whatever we're thinking, we may be right. But let's see how that works out for us. Okay, so then I said, what are we moving away from? And I get justice. So somehow, right now, trying to keep everything balanced and keep everyone happy is probably not going to happen. That might be too much to ask for. On the other hand, since we are dealing with this power struggle aspect, you might want to look back to the past and think about ways in which you were able to do that. But I wouldn't get overly focused on it. I feel like it's telling us not to try to be a people pleaser, because justice is also the card for Libra, and Libra can be a real people pleaser. So it's you want to take into account other people's viewpoints and not be overly, kingly. But I think we're coming out of this just a bit. And also Venus is in Cancer right now, and Jupiter's there too. So we have a lot of, with Mars and Taurus, we have a lot of energy about wanting to nurture and take care of our homes and our families. That's very important. Okay, so I said, what are we moving into? What do we need to do? It's the Queen of Wands. So we need to, first of all, have clear boundaries and stand up for ourselves. And if you have something that's important to you that you're thinking about, that's occurred to you, it needs to be said, and I think it needs to be acted on. This is really standing firm, and I feel like it's a good counterpoint to justice. It's like, okay, yes, I'm not going to be cruel or anything, but I know what I want, and I know what's right, and I'm going to stand up for that. I'm not going to let anybody push me around. I'm in my authority, in my actions. And then I said, what is the challenge? And I got the Three of Cups, interestingly. So our challenge is, how do we work with others at this time? There could be some conflict, and I'd be surprised if there weren't. Some power struggles, obviously. So, not obviously, but justifiably. So, this is our challenge. We want to keep people happy, but we have to stand up for ourselves. How do we do that? And then I said, what's the best possible outcome? What's the blessing in this? And I got the Star, which is interesting. And I'm going to read the thing from the book, because in this deck it's a little bit different. Why have I marked two things? Oh yeah, I know why. This is the Llewellyn Tarot. It's Welsh mythology. Okay, this says hope, inspiration, guiding star. That's pretty typical for them. But it says a moment of grace and peace, freedom, freedom after trials, chance for escape, first sign of dawn, release, self-reliance, clever, inspired ideas, listening for direction, a quickening, salvation, empowerment, destiny, a time of far-seeing, taking steps to save oneself. Ooh, that's interesting. Not giving in to resignation, enlightened idea, planning, thaw of the ice, return of life force, rejuvenation, drawing strength from nature. Okay, saving oneself. That really resonates with me for some reason. Save yourself. So we move out of harmony. I mean, I'm not saying not to be, intentionally malignant with people, but we're moving out of trying to please everyone. And it's saying, stand in your power, have your boundaries, and save yourself while getting along with people. That's the challenge. Okay. And then I asked for an overall energy card, and then as I said, I drew one for each of the elements. And I got the 5 of Swords. So she's acknowledging, let me see what it says in this book, because this book is really different. Because normally it's about kind of, clearing up after the fight. You weren't necessarily one of the people who fought, but you might have been. This says loss, sorrow, regret, defeat, overwhelming opposition, thwarted by obstacles, loss of confidence, sometimes being made to suffer the sins of others, lack of strength and resources, feeling disoriented, loss of blood, misjudging a situation or person, rash action, humiliation. Really? That's interesting. That doesn't really... I don't feel that with these other cards. Maybe I didn't need a clarifier. So we'll just go with the traditional meaning, which is, of course, like, she's clearing away. The struggle is over. There was upset because it's a 5, but she's clearing it up. Interesting. Okay. I'm not quite sure how that fits in, to be honest with you. So I've chosen the other cards, and well, you know what? Before I do that, I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. Let me just go with okay, the sun is in Gemini right now, as are, I should say, Mercury and Uranus. So there's a lot of air energy there in Gemini. So I'm starting with the air sign since the sun is in Gemini. And I hope I don't get goofed up because I'm changing my order. So this is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You guys get the 6 of Wands. This is not only a victory, but it's about having public recognition of something that you've achieved. Something could be on a mental level, and it could be on a creative level, but you're being applauded for something. You finally succeeded somewhere in something, and people are noticing. So that's really good, okay? So that's the air. So then this is the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You guys got the 10 of Cups. This is great. And I said Venus and Jupiter are both in Cancer. So there's a huge emphasis on home and family and loved ones. And you're doing it. You're feeling emotionally blessed and happy, and you're taking care of your home, and you're just all about the home energy right now. And things look like they're going well. Tell me if this is wrong, but tell me if it's right. I hope it is. You've got a blessing going on in your emotional life to do with your family and your home. Oh, I could use some of that. Okay, and then the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You guys got the wild herdsman, which is the horned one, which in traditional decks is the devil, but this isn't the devil. This is not the devil. In fact, I'm going to read from the book because I didn't want to, it's different. And I like what it says. This is about our natural instincts, the rise of primal instincts such as nesting, nurturing, herding, and protecting. That's herding, H-E-R-D. The attuning of animal qualities and senses, which can be of great value in agility, cunning, and the intuition of threats or unnatural conditions. Nature has a cycle and rhythm to regulate our behaviors, keeping balance and order. If oppression, starvation, or cruelty disrupt this order, then abhorrent, chaotic, self-destructive behavior can ensue, leading to the traditional interpretation of the devil card that appears in many decks. So that's where they get that. But it says, however, unless we have a negative interpretation, which we don't, because the rest of the reading isn't negative. It says the horned one is a symbol of a healthy, life-enhancing wild nature. Interesting. So I'm going with the nesting, nurturing, herding, and protecting because of our Mars in Taurus and Venus in Cancer. I think at this time, maybe the fire signs are putting their energy and their loyalty and their creativity into what it said. Taking care of there's a lot of taking care of the home energy here tonight, and that's good. Okay, and then last but not least, we have the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And as I said, Mars is in Taurus. Anyway, you guys get this, or I should say we, since I'm a Capricorn, 7 of Swords. Now this is literally walking away from an argument. In some decks, it's someone stealing from you, but in this one, it's not. In fact, let me see how they... traditionally, this is about... It can be about somebody being sneaky. This says resignation, acceptance, limited success, releasing of the old renews the spirit. That's good. Rejecting outside expectations for an individually fashioned lifestyle. What does that mean? Oh, it means to just do things your way. Okay, end of an ordeal, negotiations, independent thinking, confidence. Release from the grip of material questing for higher pursuits. That's interesting. So it's acceptance and confidence at the same time, and resignation. I don't quite get that. So he's accepting that there was an argument, but he's walking away from it. He's taking what he's got left, and he's smart enough to say, you know what, I've got this many left, and I'm going on with this much. I can't save everything. It's about making a change and taking with you what you've learned, but there's something you need to leave behind. Okay. And then so I told you I tried to choose some fairy cards. They wouldn't come out, but when I picked up the deck, for some reason I noticed what was on the bottom, and then I did a ton of shuffling. And when I put them down and said, nah, not this deck, the same card was on the bottom. And I'm like, okay, this is the card for tonight. I don't know why. The Prince of Shadows. Yeah, that's not too auspicious, but danger, addiction, and irresistible urge. Really? Why is that, I wonder? The Prince of Shadows is the bad boy of the fairy court. He has great beauty. He is heartless. He is everything we wish for and everything that hurts us the most. Can we have a relationship with this being? Maybe. I don't quite get how that fits tonight. Okay, if he appears in a reading, ask yourself what it might refer to in your life. It might not be a person at all. It might be your state of mind. Is it an irresistible urge for something that we know may harm us? Alcohol, drugs, shopping, computers, TV, even people, anything that can become addictive if indulged to excess. Okay. Well, I guess there's a little warning there. I don't really see that in the rest of the reading, to be honest with you, but we do have, the 5 of Swords, and then the Earth signs got the 7 of Swords. I don't know. I don't really see that, but the King of Swords can be a little, the king can be a little headstrong. We shall just say it like that. I don't know. I'll let you decide if you think that fits with the rest or not, but that's what I've got for tonight. And I just wanted to kind of talk about the square going on. And let's see, on the 31st we have the full moon at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. That will be interesting, and I will talk more about that later. So please leave me a comment. Let me know how this resonated. I also have I've thought of 3 more spooky stories that are true to tell you about. I enjoy those, and I'm glad to see people are listening to them because I think they're fun, and they're all true. Every word is true. So please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. I will talk to you later. Thank you for listening. Blessings. Good night.